Hey, deserving listeners, 90 Day Fiancé. Let's watch.
To women like that.
Here's what happened today. I had 6 of you jumping on me. And the one person that I would expect that would support me starts acting like an attorney, goes over and reads a text like I'm a third grader. Basically calling me a liar.
When you're reading messages between your ex,
and I told her, I go, Liz, you're performing.
When she tells me,
you're performing right now.
You're performing right now. You're performing right now. She defends herself in a very fair way. There are so many reactions that other people would have, nice people would have, where they would splash that glass in his face or say, I'm out of here, or out him for the bull crap that he's put her through. Instead, all she does is say, no, wait a second. I'm seeing a text that's demonstrating that you just lied to me and I looked at it. And then he's like, you're performing right now. Wow. You're performing. Just anything he can possibly do to get control. But I also believe he might literally believe this to be true, that she has crossed the line. She has betrayed him. And everything she's doing now is evidence of persecution.
Greater. Basically, calling me a liar.
When you're reading messages between your ex,
and I told her, I go, Liz, you're performing.
When she tells me,
you're performing right now.
When Sean asked, do you think Ed is still interested in you? And she goes, yes, but he said he's still in a relationship.
We were broken up. There you go. Performance.
Performance. I'm guessing he thinks it'll get under her skin or something. He thinks, or he literally sees that. Yeah, it's probably more, well, I don't know. Either way, gross. Gross. Do you feel the disgust and the anger? Did you feel it when you watched it? Or is it, am I particular? I mean, it is. Maybe part of it is that I haven't seen this. We've seen glimpses of this from Ed, but not in my memory to this extent, this unrelenting. Usually he'd start phasing back into niceness or at least fairness or not saying something, maybe just been holding it in this whole time. But gross. And then if he actually was cheating on her on Instagram while they were together in Arkansas, like, wow. I mean, what a piece of work. Wow. Oh my goodness. So I think part of my issue is that I'm not prepared. So I think I have to prepare myself and say, okay, I need to shift my conceptualization potentially and the expectations and just expect the worst. That doesn't usually help entirely, but it usually takes the edge off a little bit. Because I usually expect the worst from Angela, but it's still, when things happen, I still like, oh my goodness.
No, because
you're performing,
I'm not lying.
and don't run away.
It's the truth.
No, it's not,
You
Liz.
want me to be on
Liz.
your side when
No,
your
I want you to try. I want you to stop acting like a prima donna. Stop acting like a prima donna.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Stop acting like a prima donna. Superiority, narcissism, verbal abuse, gaslighting, emotional abuse, denial, I'm better, arrogance, disgusting, just disgusting, just so disgusting. I don't know if, when Angela flies off the handle, it's so easy to identify, and everyone sees it, I assume, including Michael, hopefully. There's something about this that I'm sure everyone sees it as well, but it's so much more, when Angela flies off, well, I don't know, it's a similar thing, I guess. It's a similar kind of arrogance and self-assuredness, just looks different. Maybe I've been triggered by people. I could think of people in my life who were like this. And I'll tell you, okay, so when I was younger, I can think of at least one person that was like this in my life and abused me. And I mean, I wasn't terribly entwined with the person, but enough that it was not pleasant. And the disarming aspect of it, to me, looking back, was that if it's Angela, I can see it. I'm like, oh, obviously there's something wrong with you. But when someone, especially if you respect them, there's something about this demeanor where they seem so convinced and they're so calm, and they might even be articulate and be able to lay stuff out that if you don't, and you're so tricked, because I'm not used to conflict. I'm not used to people in my personal life being this way. I'm avoidant of that whole thing. I'm just like, so when I can't get out of it, my adrenaline starts to freak me out and I lose my ability to think straight. And so I can't differentiate and I can't see things, and then I'll make mistakes, and then I'll be called a prima donna or whatever it was. And I'll be like, well, maybe I am being that way because I am losing control in this moment. So, and maybe I was, but the point is that this calm, arrogant, superior, put down, self-assured, grandiose, I'm calm, I'm thoughtful, I'm articulate, look at you. You piece of crap. Just look at you. You're immature, prima donna, look at you. You're completely out of control. I understand. You're immature. You don't know how to handle yourself. I got this. You don't. You're dumb. I'm smart. That is a particular kind of abuse that I've experienced that is particular.
Said he's still in a relationship.
We were broken up. There you go. It's performance.
No, because
you're performing,
I'm not lying.
and don't run away.
It's the truth.
No, it's not,
You
Liz.
want me to be on
Liz.
your side when
No,
your
I want you to try.
ex-fiance...
Now, there's a possibility that he is seeing something very new, that when it's just the two of them, she doesn't feel like she has the support and the power to be able to say what she's saying. And so for him, he's like, where is this coming from? She must be performing in front of the cameras. When in reality, what it looks like to me is she feels empowered to be able to tell the truth.
You stop acting like a prima donna. Stop acting like a prima donna.
You still
and
wanted
stop
to be
performing.
with her.
Stop.
You
Go to this little-
never give a about
Liz.
how I feel. It's about how you feel.
Why do you keep coming back?
Y'all can't have a healthy relationship
Liz,
if you break up
Liz,
every 2 weeks and you
Liz,
go back
today-
and forth like.
Today was about you performing to make me look bad.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, the more it looks like it, the more disturbed of a situation we're watching, actually. I don't know, of course, but the more I'm watching, the more I'm thinking, in terms of, let's gauge it by years of therapy, I would have thought, 3 years. I'm now thinking it's 30, honestly. If what I'm seeing is indicative of the bigger picture, which I don't know, but the amount of unraveling and detangling and healing that would need to occur in order for health to occur, there might be a lot. And in order to have insight, in order to be able to look at oneself and one's assumptions and have a question mark about it, usually takes a long time in therapy. So, yeah, wow, yeah. When you watch this, were you as triggered as I was? More triggered? I'm pretty triggered.
You got
Bitch,
to
you
go.
make me carry your luggage to the airport.
Performer.
You're so
Yeah.
Bye.
I don't care. Ed is such a piece of that doesn't deserve my love or anybody's love. And the only unconditional love he's gonna have is with the 2 dogs that we were supposed to share together.
Are you kidding me?
Do you know how hard it is?
Yeah, wow. Yeah, yikes. The alcohol could be affecting him. He could be fairly intoxicated. I wouldn't be surprised if that wasn't at least partially a factor. One could argue that the alcohol is just bringing out, it's just exaggerating him a little bit. Yeah, it's upsetting to watch, and yeah, it's rough for Liz. It's hard not to wish that she would be able to stand up to him and his behavior and move on with her life as a therapist, well, there is a line eventually where even as a therapist, I'm going to say, I don't know if this is going to work. And I've been there before where it's rare. I mean, I would say, well, even then, I don't think I've ever actually been there. I've edged in that direction where I'm like, I don't know if this is a good idea that the two of you are together. And I would never say that, but well, no, I can think of a client where, and obviously I've had thousands of clients in the 25 years, but I can think of one client off the top of my head where I did think over time, years and years of therapy, where I was just like, yeah, that person does not deserve to be treated this way and is doing everything they can possible to change it. It doesn't look like it's going to change. The abusive person kind of knows they're being abusive and is changing kind of, but it's not going rapidly and the abuse is still happening. The victim absolutely, and I'm not talking about physical abuse, because in those situations, it shouldn't really be a different situation, but it often is in terms of your responsibilities ethically. But I do remember concluding that, not strongly that I thought the client should leave, but that I was willing to accept that I might have a bit of an agenda. I didn't try to push it on the client. And again, this is one out of thousands of clients. And so you just imagine the wide variety of clients I saw. This one was particular in that it was ongoing. So with that client, I would vacillate between a couple different positions. When I was my most differentiated, which often was the beginning of the therapy session, because as time went on in the session, I would become less differentiated because it would get, upsetting. But in the beginning, I was able to recognize that I had that personal and kind of professional clinical desire that the client divorce their abusive partner. But I kept it at bay, and I lived within what I thought was a much more therapeutic spot, which is I did label their partner as abusive, and I did say they didn't deserve it, and I was very explicit about that. But the client would never indicate that they wanted to leave because of that. There was no even questioning of that, right? And so I thought she deserved to start to at least question it. And so I was much more patient and collaborative, even though in the back of my mind, I'm like, well, I think I should kind of, among a dozen other things, I should introduce this thing, even though she's not really asking me to introduce it. But when I became less differentiated, I started to have kind of energy, and I started to judge her and get frustrated with her that she wasn't leaving. And that's not helpful, obviously. So there's a difference between having the therapist-oriented agenda item that you might even say, maybe I even did, I might have even said to the client, look, I'm going to tell you, full disclosure, I don't know your situation, but I'm telling you that things aren't changing very fast. And you're telling, every time you talk with me every week, I'm hearing you being abused emotionally and verbally every week, which you don't deserve. And I'll tell you, human to human, I care about you. I don't want you to be in that situation, and it would make me feel better if you left him. But that's it. But you're not in this marriage for my feelings. But I'm just telling you, I can't help but to have that feeling because I care about you. I don't know if that's what's best for you. I don't know if it's right. I don't even know if your description is accurate. But I'm just telling you, that's how I feel. I'm not going to act on it. I know better than to know that my feelings or my judgment about this could be wrong. I don't really regard it that much. But I just tell you, like, when you tell me these stories week in and week out, like, it affects me because I care about you, and I just feel like a lot of injustice is happening. Okay, you can say that. And as long as you truly do authentically do act in a way as a therapist that's not pushy or judgy or something like that, there's a lot of different options. But anyway, I am heading in that direction with Ed and Liz, is my point.
Ed, I would just tell you, like, now that she's not here in the room.
But first of all, you don't know my situation.
I don't, and
you're shooting your mouth off. You don't know my situation.
I'm not shooting my mouth off.
So shut the up.
Where is Ed?
Let me say.
So he's now yelling at Jovi, and in contrast to Ed, Jovi is the most nicest, fairest, accommodating person. It's just interesting. Now, maybe Ed is playing this up a little bit for the show. I don't know. It doesn't seem like it.
Say what I'm about to say.
Go ahead and say. Pussy. He's sitting there talking about me. Like, you're going to go to a strip club with him and you're married. Talk about that for a minute.
Yeah, so that's his MO. Ed, when he is cornered, he goes on the attack. That's what he does with Liz. That's what he did with Rose, and that's what he's doing with Jovi. That's what he does. And that's the definition of a personality problem, is that it follows you in every relationship.
Excuse me. Next time.
Wow, what a tell-all. Because they don't usually design it this way, right? Where there's evening drinks and cameras and whatnot. So, and that's interesting. And I think it's a free bar. I didn't take note of it particularly because that is something. Also, the bar, they have to return. Like, Liz went to the bar to get a drink, and Jovi and Andre were there, so then they interacted, and then Ed had to get a drink, so he came into the room and is overhearing, and then now Angela's coming in, and now we're gonna get, and I mean, this is sort of like Clegane Bowl of Game of Thrones, if you're familiar. one of those fights that you've always fantasized about happening. Angela and Ed. Wait, which one is Sandor and which one is Gregory? Gregory Clegane? Anyway. So I guess we got to wait till next week to find out what happens. Now, I could also see it going another way, where Angela is like, Ed, you're my favorite, you're the best, and then they just love each other. But yeah. Wow. I think I have to, I do this every once in a while. I get kind of wrapped up in it, and I just have to remind myself that I'm not involved. So this is differentiation. This is what I do. To protect myself and my sleep and my life and my body and my psychology and my mood, I check in with myself, and I'm worked up right now for nothing, literally for nothing. There are things to get worked up about. If this were my friends or my wife or something, it's okay to get worked up because it matters. But this doesn't matter. I'm not involved with them. I'm not involved with them. I don't affect them. They don't affect me, really. So I'm getting worked up and stressed out because I have allowed myself, and one could say that it's functional, to meld emotionally with them while I'm watching, because I want to react. And I need to feel it to some extent to know it. But when it's over, I need to separate and not carry it with me, and remind myself that their problems are their problems, and they'll probably survive, and they'll have their life, and I don't know them. I don't know their life. I don't know who's right or wrong. And they'll have their life, and that will be that, and I will have mine. And so in this, I melded emotionally so I could be authentic and experience it and be close to it and feel it. And now I need to separate. And you could do the same, because you deserve it. You really, really do.